The scene begins with the majestic surfacing of a giant grouper, a veritable sea monster. Seizing the opportunity, the fishermen quickly chop up fresh bait and cast their large hooks, slowly sinking them to the deep seabed. In the dark water, the colossal creature silently approaches. With a lightning-fast bite, it thrashes its tail, sending a cloud of sand swirling beneath the surface, then darts across the coral reef, pulling taut the fishing line. The breathtaking battle for survival officially begins. The water churns. The colossal sea monster is pulled up close to the boat. The fishermen immediately rush forward, using steel hooks to subdue it. The frenzied fish thrashes about, sending white foam flying, forcing one man to desperately grip its gills. Three men simultaneously strain their muscles, tightening the ropes and lifting the enormous mass into the air. In the final movement, the giant crashes down onto the deck strewn with nets. The battle of muscles is over. A close-up of the colossal grouper on the deck. Fishermen in dirty aprons slit its belly open for immediate processing. Blood and internal organs are removed. The scene then shifts to the arduous transport process. The group of fishermen work together, using wooden troughs, iron hooks, and ropes tied to its jaws to lift the giant fish from the water onto the dock. Its bright red gills are exposed as it is pulled, requiring the strength of many people to move this enormous mass of flesh. The battle of muscles continues even after the fish is ashore. It turns out the first giant was just the prelude. The hunt explodes as the fishermen continuously throw iron hooks, dragging more sea monsters from the deep sea onto the boat. The most breathtaking sight is revealed. Nearly a dozen colossal groupers lie scattered, piled close together, covering the entire wooden deck. An unprecedented trophy amidst the tangled mess of green fishing lines on the deck. New bait is added to the hooks. The battle with the ocean seems far from over. Having just painstakingly pulled another gigantic sea monster onto their blue boat with iron hooks, the fishermen immediately rolled up their sleeves for a new round of fishing. A series of large, gleaming steel hooks were lined up sharply along the side of the boat. On deck, cleavers chopped furiously. A pile of long, slender, blood-soaked mackerel and tuna were quickly butchered for fresh bait. A massive fishing line was about to ensnare the bait, ready to be lowered to the seabed for an even more brutal hunt. The fishermen frantically chopped the fresh bait, preparing their massive array of hooks. After a moment of quiet contemplation of the sunset illuminating the solar panel, the real battle erupted. A gigantic gray shadow, its enormous, thick tail thrashing wildly against the side of the small blue boat. The fishermen's eyes were filled with intense tension as they faced the colossal giant head-on. The victory was truly breathtaking. The water churned as the beast thrashed about. On deck, legs gripped the peeling paint of the deck. The fishermen, clad in gloves, painstakingly tightened the thick, rough ropes. The battle of muscles ended when a gigantic spotted brown grouper was pulled ashore. The enormous mass lay flattened, filling the space, so large that the barefoot fisherman standing beside it looked tiny. A prize beyond imagination. Deep in the ocean, the hook, laden with fresh, bloody bait, sank to the bottom. The monstrous grouper snapped at the bait, kicking up clouds of sand. Three fishermen in the swaying blue boat struggled desperately, tightening the thick rope. Suddenly, the water erupted, and the black and white whale killer leaped right up to the side of the boat, a breathtaking shock. The stormy voyage ended triumphantly, with a bounty covering the wooden dock. The giant was completely subdued. A close-up of its terrifyingly wide mouth and thick scales vividly revealed the monstrous size of the sea creature. Tiredness vanished, replaced by proud smiles as the fishermen caressed their prize. Gathering the golden fishing line, the blue boat cut through the waves, speeding back to shore. The final scene was like something out of a movie. A fiery red sunset cast its shadow over the two beasts lying silently on the wooden deck, concluding a historic hunting expedition. The enormous bounty was brought to the slaughter. The colossal grouper was split in two, revealing its pristine, fresh white flesh. The fishermen nimbly cut up large chunks of fish, rinsing them with seawater right on the sun-drenched, windy deck. The joy of labor was evident. Soon after, the freshest pieces of fish were carefully sliced over a small, makeshift gas stove. Finally, a sizzling sound filled the air as the fish fillets pan-fried to a golden brown in bubbling oil, releasing a fragrant aroma. A perfect, satisfying end to the day for these skilled ocean hunters. On the mini gas stove, the huge chunks of grouper continued to sizzle, turning a beautiful golden brown and emitting a mouth-watering scent. While waiting for the fish to cook, another fisherman sat on the deck, hidden among the offal, quickly cutting open the bellies of the smaller mackerel they had just caught. The makeshift feast at sea was nearing completion with the crispy fried fish, promising a delicious meal to reward their hard work. After a feast of golden fried fish fillets under the sunset, the fishermen strained their nets again. The green fishing line vibrated intensely. With utmost effort, they pulled another magnificent sea monster onto the deck and quickly packed it in the hold. The trip concluded perfectly with a radiant smile and a proud embrace from the fisherman beside his huge catch. Another giant grouper was subdued. This time, the catch was so enormous it filled the entire width of the small, narrow green fishing boat. The fishermen, dressed in purple shirts with vibrant patterns, SMFS, smiled brightly, reclining proudly beside the magnificent sea monster. On the deck, the sounds of knives and cutting boards echoed, a burly fisherman butchering a long, slender mackerel. The hunt seemed never-ending, and the spools of fishing line were once again cast into the deep ocean. The scene shifts to a new sea area with a distant, faintly visible navigation tower. The tug-of-war with the ocean continues. The white fishing line tightens in the fisherman's hands. Unexpectedly, another giant grouper sea monster surfaces, bobbing on the turquoise waves close to the boat. The dashcam mounted on the pole captured this breathtaking hunting moment. The hunt concluded near the navigational tower. This time, the sea monster was so enormous that the small boat couldn't contain it. Upon reaching shore, a real pulley battle ensued. Dozens of burly men gathered, using wooden planks as ramps to lift the colossal mass onto the concrete dock. The scene erupted as dozens of fishermen surrounded them, pointing in amazement at the towering king of the ocean on land. A truly spectacular feat. The next part of the hunt seemed far more dramatic. The conquest of the sea monster wasn't just a battle of wits underwater. On the sun-drenched deck, two fishermen toiled, pulling rough green ropes from the deep sea. Each pull of the rope was a confrontation with the immense weight from the ocean floor. From a distant, hazy buoy to the tents, sweat-drenched fishermen concentrating intently on the coiled ropes. It all depicted a true battle of muscle, no longer a pristine white. The deck of the white transformed into a chaotic battleground of life and death. Tightly braided green fishing lines squeezed the muscular hands of the fishermen in their blue and gray uniforms. Sweat dripped onto the white superstructure, mingling with the messiness of the ropes and gear surrounding them. They strained to realistically portray the extreme hardship, the arduous effort to conquer the colossal sea monsters swimming upside down below. A fisherman, his apron soaked in blood, swung his cleaver with a powerful blow, slicing through the sea monster's body. The rough skin peeled away, revealing thick, reddish flesh clinging to the enormous skeleton. Huge fillets were quickly butchered, arranged in long rows on wooden tables, and covered with gleaming white ice. In the bustling market, each fresh, heavy piece of meat was lifted and placed on a large weighing scale. This was the great bounty of the sea. The enormous prize was brought ashore. In the bustling, misty market, skilled butchers in blood-stained aprons wielded powerful cleavers, slicing lengthwise through the carcass of the sea monster. The rough skin peeled away, revealing thick, reddish flesh clinging tightly to the enormous skeleton. Huge chunks of fillet emerged,